India's startup ecosystem is in an unusual moment. Deal volumes are at a 10-year low, yet 2025 saw a record 51 tech IPOs. Average deal sizes have doubled and deep tech funding has grown to $1.49 billion. In today's episode, Neha Singh, co-founder of private market intelligence firm Traction, talks to me. Traction tracks 8 million plus companies across 50 countries and works with 2,000 plus organizations. Neha joins me to make sense of what the numbers around startups are really saying. It's Tuesday, the 30th of June. I'm Anirban Chaudhary. This is the Morning Brief. Hi Neha, very warm welcome to the Morning Brief.
Thanks a lot, everyone. Great to be here.
Absolutely. Okay, now we all use Traction, so it's so nice to be talking to the person who's behind Traction. All of us corporate financial journalists use it almost on a daily basis for all our data-driven stories. A lot of data analysts use it very frequently, I'm sure, as do corporates. Tell me what's up with Traction these days. What is sort of your reach, your size? Tell me about the company a little bit.
Firstly, thanks a lot for the kind words. It's always great to hear that people are using the platform for data. So to give you a brief about Traction, so we started Traction nearly 13 years back. The idea was that, public market has the luxury of a lot of platforms. But if you look at private markets, everyone was sort of reinventing the wheel, right? So we thought that there has to be a global platform that exists in the private market data space. Right? So that's how we started. In fact, we started when I was in Stanford, doing my MBA, 30 years back is when we started. And today, obviously, we are a large company. We have, more than 700 people across 2 offices and customers in over 50 countries, right? So we track essentially, anything to do with private markets, startups, and we work with private market investors, including venture capital funds, private equity funds, as well as large corporates, their innovation team, M&A team to help them track what's innovative and what are the startups getting founded every day. So if you're looking at any emerging tech sectors like space tech or any of the emerging sectors, we would have an analyst covering that.
Okay, let's come to what the data is telling you. If I were to ask you the most fascinating business story that Traction is seeing, a business story or trend that Traction is seeing right now, what would it be?
So I'll probably use data to actually answer that from the startups landscape perspective. So obviously in the top level, you hear a lot about those sectors, which includes your quick commerce, your instant delivery, D2C brands, AI, right, being talked about a lot. But if you go a little bit behind the numbers, and I'll actually present both the good and the bad part. So people don't realize that if you look at the deal volume, it is still today at actually a 10-year low. Right. So what is happening is that, obviously the funding overall dollar invested has been range bound. Right. It's down from the 2021 level, but it has been range bound. But the deal volume is actually lower. So investors are actually taking more concentrated bets, I would say. So they're putting in more money behind the leaders across all these sectors. Right. So that's on one side. On the exit side, it's actually, it has been a landmark year, I would say, last year, 2025, for the exit, in India. To give an example, till a few years back, all the limited partners used to complain about the Indian startup ecosystem that a lot of the dollar goes in, but the dollar that is, given back to them has been fairly limited, right? That has changed, I would say, in the last couple of years. So last year, for instance, was a record year in terms of the IPOs that have happened. 2025 saw more than 50 tech IPOs happening. And also it was a record year in terms of the VC-backed IPOs. Right? So that's an exciting time. And right now, I think even the LPs are have seen a lot of returns. So that is hopefully going to go back into the ecosystem, into the funds as well as the startups.
Deal making at a 10-year low and a record year of exits. What do these 2 trends tell you about what's happening in the startup landscape?
So I think one of the things which is happening is investors on one hand are taking more concentrated bets on the companies. Right. So some of the market leaders or some of the category leaders are able to raise more rounds, I would say, than being a spray and pray kind of models. Right. So that is one thing which is changed. And I think the second thing which has also changed in the whole narrative of founders, thanks to the fact that now they see getting listed as one of the options which is there within a few years of starting up, the way they are building the companies is also different, right? So the way they are building the companies is sort of more, I would say, conscious about the burn, right? So it is not growth at all costs, but it is growth with good unit economics and sustainable unit economics, right? So I think that is one thing which has probably also changed in the way the founders are building their companies.
Okay, this whole spate of overvaluation that we've seen in the last 2 years, do you think that's tapering?
So that is definitely becoming more, I would say, reasonable, right? So it is nowhere as close to the multiples that 2021 saw, which was crazy multiples that the companies were getting because of the fact that the late stage was bound to happen, right? But now what has changed is that if you look at a lot of the late stage investors like a Tiger Global or a SAFBank, which used to lead a lot of the late stage rounds in India, like in 2021, 2022, they have been fairly absent, I would say, right? There's hardly any large rounds that they have led, right, recently. So I think because of this, you also see that whole trickle down effect, which is happening. Companies are also sort of thinking about going IPO, and hence which is reflecting in the valuation that they're getting even in the late stage rounds.
Got it. Can you give me some examples of how, the fact that you're seeing only the leaders attracting, deals?
Actually, if you just look at the deal volume, right? Like if we actually look at the data, the deal volume has decreased, but the funding total dollar invested has been, sort of range bound between 10 to 15 billion. And the average deal size has actually doubled. And this is both on the early stage as well as on the late stage.
Got it. Okay, got it. Okay, tell me, what is this, which is a sector that's growing in plain sight, you think, without a lot of people talking about it or noticing it or it being in the news yet?
So one of the sectors which is, growing despite overall tech slowdown is probably deep tech. I would say deep tech is a very, interesting sector in India that is seeing a lot of increase in investments. And within that, if you look at sectors like a space tech, which is probably one of the cleanest. So it has seen both, more than 5x increase in terms of the number of dollar invested, more than 4x increase in the number of rounds across the last 4 years, right? Including companies like a Skyroot, Pixel, Agnicool, etc. Right? So that is one sector which is there. Military tech is another sector, because of the global conflicts, etc. People have realized that, they cannot rely only on imported, and they need to have homegrown companies also in this space. EV, again, continues to be one sector which has sustained the scale, throughout these downturns, right? And it also saw, for instance, IPO in the last 2 years of Fula Electric as well as Ethereal Energy, happening in the public market. So that's another sector which has seen sort of sustained growth, right? So I would say, and I expect that a lot of these deep tech sectors, the funding is expected to sort of increase in the coming years, right? One of the reasons for this is also, for instance, the government has this RDI scheme wherein they have set aside a large pool of money for investments in companies as well as funds, right? And thanks to that, there are going to be more deep tech funds which are going to come to India, which is then going to have trickle down effect in terms of the number of investments that happen in this space. So that's one space that is probably, has seen sort of consistent growth in terms of investments and likely to grow further.
So also tell me, when you talk about deal making and the sectors that really excite you are deep tech. Now, a complaint that a lot of investors have had is that not enough AI innovation is happening in India, specifically from the point of view of what kind of money or investment interest they are attracting. What do you see?
Right. No, that's a great question. And, a lot of us are actually seeing that trend very closely, right? Because you would want, India to also be a leader in the AI action. So right now, if you look at the stats, I think it is slightly lagging behind, I would say. So if you look at the stat, right, like India used to account for about, anywhere between 8 to 10% of the overall global funding, which used to happen, across all tech sectors. But if you look at it just within AI, it is probably much lesser. It's less than 5%, right? If you look at the overall, AI funding which is happening globally and the AI funding which is happening in India, right? So the percentage of AI funding which is happening in India as compared to the global level, it's obviously slightly lower, right? If you look at US, right, and if you look at some of the most successful companies, actually there's a lot of Indian diaspora which is there, right, which are actually in the midst of all this AI companies. To give you an example, please, Anthropic, for instance, their CTO had actually done their undergrad in Bangalore, right? So obviously there's a lot, and this is not just one company. If you look at across other companies, there are a lot of people that have probably done their education here and now are part of companies which are very prominent in the AI space in US, right? So obviously there's this debate which is there, right? And one of the other things which is also there, so one of the reasons why India and why US and China have been able to do very good in terms of the AI infrastructure layer and the AI overall is because of the availability of a lot of capital, right? India obviously does not have these kind of large capital pools, right? And AI infrastructure especially is a layer which is very capital intensive, right? So because of it, obviously, because of probably the limited amount of capital also that has been available, if you look at the number of companies which are there in terms of the AI infrastructure or AI overall has probably lesser as compared to if you look at the other sectors where India is much higher. But people are hoping that may sort of improve over time. We would want it to see at least in the top 3, right, soon, which is there. As it is there in the overall stat. Like if you look at some of the other stats, like if you look at other stats, including how many unicorn companies are there globally in the startup ecosystem. So there, India ranks like 3rd globally as an ecosystem.
Okay, fine. One trend that makes you optimistic about the startup landscape and one big challenge that you see evolving now, which wasn't there before and which needs to be tackled very, very soon.
Right. So one trend which I'm really excited about is just the depth of talent of startup founders and startup builders has increased at an amazing pace. To give you an example, when I started my career as a venture investor more than a decade back, at that time, most of the founders that we used to back were the first-time founders. Well, they would be doing a startup right out of the college, or they would have worked for an MNC and then leaving that to do a startup, right?
Right.
It has completely changed now. Right now, there are so many second-time founders which are starting up. There are so many CXOs of large startups, successful startups who are starting up, right? And just the depth of talent has increased, right? So I think that is super, awesome for the ecosystem. This is what people used to say about, like Silicon Valley, right? Just the density of talent which sort of exists in ecosystems like those, which is just amazing for startups, right? And people used to say that if you're building any deep tech startup, etc., that's a great place to start, right? Because of just the talent density which exists.
And finally, one challenge, which was the second part of my question.
So I think one thing that we want to closely look at is just how large India becomes in the whole AI race, I would say, and how many startups in the AI space actually scale globally from India, because that is going to be a key shift that is happening, in the months to come. So, right now India has a good start and has a very deep talent pool, I would say. But I think it just needs to also have the capital and all the other things to go right for it to sort of claim back its position as the 3rd largest ecosystem, also in the AI race globally.
Thank you so much, Neha, for joining us.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Record exits, concentrated bets, and deep tech on the rise. The Indian startup story is getting even more interesting, and Traction's data backs it up. That's it for today. You were listening to this episode on The Morning Brief. It was produced by me, sound designed by Amrit Reggie. Keep listening to The Morning Brief and our other shows, including Corner Office Conversation, wherever you get your podcast. Stay tuned.